Hey everyone, I am Yvette Lloyd, host of Life Her podcast. Thank you for tuning in tonight. We have an amazing topic for tonight. It's about human resource. It's a lot of things that we don't know about human resource. Me personally, I always thought they just do the filing and bookkeeping or whatever the case may be. However, we have Claudia Kropf with us tonight, and she's going to go into detail exactly what it is and how resourceful it is. Hey Claudia, how are you?
I'm very well, and how are you tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It
Good.
was great to have you.
Oh, I so much appreciate. I do appreciate being here. Thank you so much.
Yes. So first and foremost, I would like the audience to get to know you. So can you please introduce yourself and provide some background about your professional journey and expertise?
I've lived in like 11 different states and had many jobs. So most of those jobs have been in human resources. So didn't fall into human resources. Actually decided to be a part of human resources as I came to understand the power that it can actually have in an organization. So I've been everything from a clerk to a senior vice president of human resources and have enjoyed all of it. I also teach now in a master's program at University of Southern California, as well as I've written a book called HR Simply Defined. So yes, I
Oh.
like it a lot, not just a little bit.
That is interesting because I never heard of this before. It's just very different and unique. What inspired you to pursue your career in your field?
You know, I started out in accounting as like an accounts payable clerk, but
Okay.
they told me I moved to Boston. They said if you want to get a promotion, you'll have to go to Maine, and I was cold enough in Boston. So I decided that I was going to figure out exactly what to do. And as I wrote down all the different things I was involved in, even in accounting, I was hiring people, firing people, disciplining folks. I was helping them with their tuition reimbursement. And I came to realize that I was actually doing more human resources than accounting. So
Right.
that's why I decided to make that leap.
Wow. That is a lot. That is a lot. I haven't worked at a job because I've been an entrepreneur for like 17 years, but the times when I was like from 18 to like 23, I'm saying like I never knew the human resource. I just thought they always just took our application, did the filing, and basically just making sure everything on point with us. But you have a whole broad view of it and letting us know tonight on how resourceful it is and how helpful it can actually be. So could you basically tell me like the process of actually being introduced to you in the first beginning of someone being hired for the job?
When you're first hired, yes, you'll see human resources. If you're lucky, sometimes it takes a little while to get a job, right? But
Yes.
you're usually introduced to recruiters, and these folks have been told, and they're working with hiring managers, trying to understand exactly what the business need is. But if you think about it, that is your first opportunity to talk to someone and understand the culture of the organization. And people discount interviews. Oh, it was just later. Oh, it happened that one time. No, the interview tells you a lot about the candidate and a lot about the company. And you have to really stop and breathe because sometimes you just need that job, but stop and breathe and listen to what's going on. So I had an HR person call me up to set up an interview and then never call back.
Wow.
Now, what do I know about the company and what do I know about the HR department? Okay, from a lack of training to a lack of care to a lack of follow through, there's so many things that you can actually see and know. And so you're going to talk to that recruiter. You're going to be brought in. You're going to see the managers. Hopefully, they're trained and they're treating you as they should. And you will get to me because I'll come out and I'll either say hello or possibly something has gone wrong. And while some HR departments are geared only towards the employer, that's wrong. Anything out of balance in this life is wrong. You got to be for the employer and the employee. And guess what? You can do that. It can be a little scary sometimes, but you can do that. And I've done that, and I've done it successfully for years. I've scared a few folks, managers, and surprised a few folks. But if you do the right thing, yeah, sometimes even that can be a little scary, but it's so worthwhile. And I will stand by my employees. And I tell them, if you give me something to fight with, I will fight for you.
Wow. So can you explain your responsibilities in detail when you are working in HR?
When I'm working in HR, my responsibility is to look at the entire organization. What is going on through the entire organization? Do people have what they need? Do we have some problems? Are we hearing about the same problems over and over? If so, is that a training issue? Is it an attitude issue? Do we need to get out and talk to people? Do we need more streaming? Do we need to go and visit? You try to figure out what's going on because every business has a purpose. And if our people are getting their needs met, then they can better meet the needs of the business. It's that simple. And sometimes people get ahead of themselves and they only want to focus on the business, and you just can't do it. You can do it for a little while, but it's not going to last. And so I try to look at the culture through every single person I meet, through every hello, every elevator ride, every Zoom call, every Teams call. What's the attitude? And that helps me to kind of nudge people towards the real goal. So if I hear
Wow.
somebody who is not happy with things, I want to hear why. I'm not going to just say you have a bad attitude. What's
Mhm.
going on, or what did you not get, or what are you looking for? People say I can keep it. I just need. I can tell you, but you can't tell anybody else. I'll say, well, okay. Here's how it works. Okay. If it can hurt you or hurt the company, I can't promise you that. That usually
Wow.
works, but I have to say, my heart has just been broken when some people have just walked away because in fear they won't open up. So
Really?
yeah, yeah, that's really hard. I'm supposed to make sure if anybody has a need that and we can meet that need that we do so. That means the employee has to act right. That means if I've got an overbearing manager, they're going to have to stop. And the
Wow.
most important part is to talk to all the parties before everything builds up. So it's not easy to go to somebody and say, that's not working. But if you still care before the frustration sets in and you still care, I can go to a manager and say, I think we have a problem. You got a minute? Right? And we can just talk because I'm not mad at them.
Right.
I care enough to make sure that the issue gets resolved. So, what I find is every day I am looking at the whole attitude, I'm looking at the culture, and I'm looking at every person I touch or meet, trying to make sure we're all going the same way. When my day is over, if you've done HR correctly, you should be absolutely exhausted.
Oh wow.
Absolutely, because it's like hosting a
Sounds
party. What
about
do you
right.
when you host a party, right? What do you got to make sure everybody's got food, you got to make sure they got something to eat, you are the host.
Yes, that's true. That
That's it.
that's a lot of work. Like, so how do you handle conflict and resolution in a workplace, and can you provide an example of like a challenging situation that you've been successful with?
Okay. Yes, again, it's listening and trying to know people. I have one story. It's just absolutely wonderful because I met a manager and he was a very get to it. I'm detailed. We've got to get the work done. But he came in one day and he told me a story about his daughter. And I just listened because it was out of character. He was always very just go get him. And he said just the sweetest thing that near the end, he said, a little boy was picking on her and he was watching out of his window. And he said he hit her and she started to fall. And then he said, and I couldn't reach her before she hit the ground. And I'm thinking, what father could jump out of a window and reach their daughter? And it helped me see this really, I got to get everything done guy had a heart of gold, right? And so one day, one of his employees calls me and she said, I need to talk to him. I said, okay. She said, but I don't know if he'll take my call. I said, I believe he'll take it. And she said, what do I do? I said, you call him and you tell him you need to talk to him. that you disagree about something. You need a few minutes. And if he doesn't take your call me back. I kid you not, it was 10 minutes. He calls. He goes, "Oh my goodness, one of my employees has called." He said, "What do I
Oh,
do?" And I said, "Hear her out, hear what she has to say, and understand how difficult it must be to talk to your boss and to let them know you disagree about something." I said, "And if you feel nervous or you can't respond right away, tell her, I have to stop now. Let me get back to you." I said, "You can call me. I'll help you with anything." They worked it out, and neither one ever knew that I was in the middle of it. And that's what I
wow.
try to do. That's what I try to do. These little things, and they sound so small, but she didn't have to go home that night frustrated. She could focus on work. And he didn't have to worry about what did she want to talk about. He could focus on work. And that's what I'm supposed. That's a big part of what I'm supposed
Yeah.
to do. Yeah, there's analysis and all that. I got it. That's easy. But it's the people part. So
Yeah.
if it comes to me, I try to listen, and you have to listen to both sides because the first person always sounds right till the second person starts talking, right?
Right, right.
So, so
You're like,
you got to
wait a
really,
minute.
yeah, exactly. It sounds all sewn up. You have to listen to the people you like and the people you don't like. Your job is to listen and then figure out what the issue is and then deal with the issue.
So what if the owner or manager of the company, if they just extremely dead wrong on how they treated the employee, where do you come in at with that? Do you like tell them they could no longer be here or fire them? Like how do you go about doing that?
If it's a manager, then I'll just tell them we have to talk. We need to get this straightened out because there's a right and there's a wrong. You're going to meet a lot of people who will actually listen because no one's dared to cross that line before. And you're going to have a
Okay.
few who are just going to be arrogant and say, "No, it's this way." And I'm like, "No, it's not really." So I'll document our conversation. And if I can change things, I will. But I've actually been on the other end of that and lost my job before.
You lost
So
your job from doing that?
mhm. I worked for a
Wow.
lot for somebody, and it was a boss, and they didn't like that. So it's not roses. It's not all it's not
Yeah.
all roses. But you still have to decide who you are and how you want to present yourself. So most professions have a good side and a bad side, and it can be really tough.
Right.
There's competitive or whatever. Um, but in HR, I will do what I can, but I will not forfeit my ethics. I will not
Right.
deal with disrespect. You're going to talk to me in the right tone because that's how it works. And I'll be quiet until
Mhm.
you do. Okay. I don't have to say anything. We can just look at each other,
Mm,
but we have to make
listen,
sure it's a respectful tone. And if at that point,
seriously.
yeah, and at that point they just don't want you around, I can't always, have a magic wand to make it work. But I will tell you, they know who I am, they know what I'm about. And even the people who don't care for me know I'm going to always tell them the truth. And those same people will call. And I will protect them like anyone else in that workplace, and they know that.
That's good. So, can you discuss like your approach when it comes to diversity and inclusions of in the workplace? Because you have like different experiences in that. I'm sure you do.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Diversity is a very, very difficult topic because it's such a simple topic. Okay.
Yes,
It's the problem is when I say diversity, what you hear is so different to so many different individuals.
it is.
So the first thing about it is trying to get a conversation or to set a like tone. And really, diversity is two things that are major that we're overlooking, and diversity efforts are getting squashed in too many places right now. Number one, respect for other people. And you and I would have to talk to each other for a while to know how did you grow up and what did you like? What didn't you like? And for me too, because everybody is so different. But we have to respect those differences. Sometimes social media gets all the differences and then condemns people for it. And I don't understand that.
That's
So
true.
diversity is, yeah, it's about respect. And then diversity is not a standalone. Diversity has to be incorporated into all the different programs at work, just like it should be incorporated into our lives. When people
Mhm.
see diversity as a standalone, they're doing that to make sure it fails. It's a diversity effort. Oh, no, that's too black, too white, too female, too, and it fails. And they say, see, oh, yeah, diversity didn't work, and they feel justified. Mm-mm. Whatever you have going on, be it recruiting, be it creating teams, be it training, do you have all different colors, all different ages, all different races? Are we infusing our programs with diversity instead of
Right.
creating diversity as a standalone that people who are having a hard time with it have been waiting for? And they really have been eliminating so many diversity jobs and programs. And it just breaks my heart again because it's a misunderstanding.
Wow. So let me ask you this. When you come on the job, is there rules and regulations in the handbook that is already there that you have to use, or are you able to edit it and make it a lot better than what it is?
Okay, first you can make it a lot better, but it's a little tricky. Okay,
Okay.
as to how you do that. Um, this is now getting into change management
Okay.
and how you have to do things, but sometimes you have to do it slowly. You
Right.
can't always just go in. And so I'll take something and I'll look at it and I'll say, why do you do it this way? Even
Hmm.
if I think I know, right? I need to know what the purpose is. And sometimes people say, we always did, or I don't know.
Right.
Then I've got some possible solutions, not just one, because that sounds self serving. What if we did this or this? What do you think? And we're now working together to try to make those changes, be it handbook, policy, whatever is going on. Then you can start to make the change. Now, my mom always said, don't don't tell everything you know. Okay, so sometimes I may see three problems, but start with just one. Let's build trust. Okay. Let's build a business relationship first. Let's see how that works. Then we can get to number two and to number three. But some people get mad. Oh no. Oh no. That's just a waste of time. You need to clean up the whole thing. The walls
Right.
go up. Yeah. The walls go up. The team works out the window and you don't get anywhere. And they say, see, those people weren't open. Well, you weren't supposed to pry them open. You were supposed to work
Like the
with the people.
pressure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, and it's just as simple as reading the room, you know?
Yeah. Sometimes it could be difficult though, because you not only you will develop a better relationship with staff more than management itself. So you will be able to get to know their characters and their consistency when it comes to work and the things that they need and don't need and everything. So how do you balance that out and continue to be organized and structured when you are all, I mean, you're all over the place.
Well, yeah, and one of the biggest things, especially about HR, and I think for everybody really in the work world, is prioritizing and
Yes.
reprioritizing and being flexible. Figure out those main things that have to get done because you'll find yourself drifting away and having to get back to them. But
Man,
HR
that's
will have a
true.
reputation so that you'll know who you can go to, or you'll know if you can't go to that HR department. Um, and I'm just going to talk to people. First off, I don't work for anybody. I work for God, and that really makes life a whole lot easier. Sometimes my bosses get mad, but I'm supposed to do what you say, but I'm not supposed to violate my ethics and go there. And so I talk to everybody because I believe everybody's equal. Some people have a lot
Mm,
of money get upset with me because I'm not oohing and on, but that's okay. They'll get over it because I'm not going to change. And
yeah,
I'm going to listen to whoever comes to me about an issue. Because again, the more I listen, the more I can understand what's going on, the more I can make it a better workplace for everybody. And I've had so many people come to me confidentially. I've had grown men and women crying in my office. They
oh,
needed a place. So I try to make sure we have a good employee assistance program where you have actual counselors who can help people,
that
not
is
just
great.
yeah, because I know what I don't know. I'll do what I can, but there's a lot I don't know. So people are like kids. they can't always say it, but they always know if they feel secure or not in the workplace. And I think it's important for everybody to have a voice and be able to speak up. And I'm going to make that voice heard for myself and for others, no matter what. And people have, I would say 90% of the folks I've worked with and around, again, from Key West, Florida to Boston, Massachusetts, have appreciated and at least respected that attitude.
Wow. So what is some of your best and challenges and opportunities you faced in your current position?
Ah, okay. My current position is a new position for me for moving to South Carolina. And so that's the challenge of the new kid on the block, right? You just listening and learning and trying to understand where we are and what we're doing. And then trying to be easy on my boss at first, let him know, okay, I'm here and I'm going to tell you a few things. And a few weeks in, I'm like, okay, now you get Claudia. This is what I think, right? Because that's going to come anyway. So, like anybody else, well, I won't say like anybody else, don't go in to prove yourself. That's the most aggravating thing in the whole world.
That's so
Don't go in,
true.
don't go in to prove yourself. Go in to find out what's going on so that you can add at any level of the organization so you can add to what's going on. Then, if you're as good as you think you are, you'll be able to add something and prove yourself. But
Girl,
don't.
yeah. It's a
So that's what I've done. The biggest challenges, though, for me, it's been race. It's been race and the confidence that I've told people.
wow.
That has been very difficult. If you look at most annual reports, mostly are there when they take the pictures, because everybody's big in pictures, it's mostly white and male.
It
And
is.
and that's not bad. It's just not always understanding. And so I found most people there are willing to try to understand, but some are not because 10 people are telling them the same thing and my opinion is different. It's like, well,
Mm,
she must not be right. There it takes time to really build relationships and try to get people to listen and to understand. I know when I've started, usually I'll try to take folks to lunch, and some people just don't want to go.
wow.
And I'm like, no, you need to go. I mean, I'll just speak up, right?
Right, right.
But
Wow.
that is it's that difficult. Now you're getting right back to the diversity respect thing.
Yeah, you are.
We're really going to even listen and talk to each other because many people don't understand. I can't talk for other folks who have been in this position, but as a Black woman, I know that it's been difficult for some people just to have me in the same room. When other people get promoted
Mm,
and I don't get promoted, when other people are given a certain salary and my salary is lacking. And so it takes a little patience. And I know people
mm,
don't always have that. And it's like, no, I want it now. I know I should have it now, but I have to let some things play out so that I can use it as a teaching tool. Because I can go back and
right,
say, hey, did you see this? Because now this has been going on for a few weeks or a few months,
right.
whatever. And I'm still
Documenting.
talking, documenting, and helping, trying to help them to see I'm a hard worker. I know you don't know me, and I know you might be a little offended because I walked in the room. That's all okay because I'm still in the room and I'm not going anywhere. But now we need to talk because we've got some issues here. I went for an interview one time, and the assistant was talking to me, and the person who was going to interview me came into the room and walked over into the corner. I'm like, well, hello, how are you? You're not going to ignore me.
What?
So it's letting people know I am here, but you have to be willing for the consequences.
You
You have to be
do.
willing to accept the consequences. And I'm totally willing to accept the consequences because I have
That's
to be who I
good.
am.
That's good. So, have you ever like felt the lack of confidence within yourself, even just being in that position? Because you have the staff that's coming in applying for the job, and they're basically working for someone else, and you are too. But you could still create some sort of backlash as well. You being in your position and being treated wrong. So how do you balance that out and keep your emotions intact in your mental state of mind? Because that's a lot.
It is. The mental state of mind comes again from respect. If somebody raises their voice, I just watch them and look at them, and I'm like, okay, I need you to repeat that. And people don't like to scream twice. And so, so by establishing the environment, the only environment that I will accept, that has been very helpful. I had a person once, um, and he came in and he goes, he asked me, he said, I have a question. And so, as you can see, I tell stories. So I
Yes.
started telling a story, and he actually looked at me and said, I don't have time for your stories. Get to the point. I said, well, I tell you what, you can leave my office. I'll be here all day, but that's how I communicate. When you get a chance, come back, and I'll be happy to answer your question. And he had to
Wow.
decide, am I going to walk away or am I going to sit down? And I did not mean, I wasn't trying to make him feel bad. I was simply trying to tell him who I am. And he sat down. And I said, how can I help you? There, we're good. um,
Yeah. But that's a like a
all,
boundary too that you are creating for yourself so that your mental health is cool when you are also at work and dealing with people, because they could come off pretty rude and you never know when a person is having a good day, a bad day. You just don't know, but to come off so strong like that, and for you to transition his mindset for him, like, okay, let me just go sit with her, let me figure this out. That is really good, and I know it probably took you a while to even just get to that point also, of being so vocal about how you want things to go in your presence.
that's where the second half of what you were asking me now, how do people do that? Everybody has to find their own way. And when I
Yeah.
teach, I remember I made a comment. I told somebody a story about me and what I had said. And I said, what do you think? And one young man raised his hand and he said, I can't do that. And I said, you're not supposed to. You have to look at the same scenario and you have to find your way. What are you willing to do? What are
Mm.
you willing to say? How do you want to present yourself? And everybody is different. So they have to
Yeah,
find their way. But I hope to be there not only to represent myself, but for those who come to me and need to be represented. I have no problems with that. So I've just been just let's see, obnoxious, loud, one of those kids all my life. And I'm thankful because that's a gift, and I believe if you're given a gift, you have to try to use it the right way. And so I just try to be me, and I will help anybody that I can.
that's how you can be. So where is Claudia at today?
Claudia today is at a kind of a crossroads of yes, I am working, but I've got to finish helping. That's where the book does come in. The HR simply defined. I want to cause a conversation between HR folks and get them to start to look and listen, even if they don't like what I've said, and that's okay.
Right,
Um, I don't believe that we are united in the way that we're trying to get things done. Again, the policies, oh, yeah, that's easy. The policies are
right,
there, but the application of some people are manager centered. And that doesn't work. And you can't be employee centered either. Only that's not going to work. But there is a way to help the business. And again, that's by helping all the people in the business, but I see them all as employees. And so what I want to do now is give back. I've actually added just in this last edition some worksheets so that people can take any topic and figure out how to put it together, work it through the worksheet and make it work. Because every
wow.
type is going to be different, right? It's just different as different people. And so you have to consider the business ramification and the people ramification and then figure out where can you get to? Where can you get to? Can you get to something that's going to work for the business? And it may not always be pretty and it may not always be expected, but there's lots of ways we can work together to get things done. So that's where I am now. I want to be able to give back more even outside of my current organization.
Your book would be amazing for a lot of individuals, especially in the small business, because like small business owners, a lot of them is just they always start off as just themselves only, but a lot of them grow so much to a point they can't handle everything on their own. So having an HR person can place and put people in positions on where they could go, their expertise and things that they can do, and creating job titles and things of that nature for them to be able to have their business structured the way it needs to be. I myself had I had an individual that helped me the same thing that you do, and it was amazing to just even just learn so much as far as getting a business structure, and it takes a lot off of you when you are a business owner as well, but a lot of people don't seek it because that's usually their last thing of what they're thinking about.
Yeah, gotta eat, right?
Yes, for
I know,
real.
I
Because
know, I know.
you're not thinking about having someone to create structure for your company and making sure everyone in position is handling their job well. And I believe what you're doing is like very amazing and it's going to be very helpful, but it's very underrated as well. It's very underrated. So you have a lot of work to do too.
But you make such a wonderful point about structure because everybody knows if you don't have a good foundation, you can't build anything.
Man, you can't do nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And so if you don't have a good foundation for your business, all of a sudden you find that your compensation's out of whack, or you get enough employees and you don't know that you've got federal obligations and state and local. It doesn't work. But you have to be strategic in
Yeah.
considering, okay, I don't want to overdo, but I do need to at least talk to somebody for a little bit to understand how do I build these pieces into my business. And it's actually
Yeah.
one of the things that I speak about is what CEOs should know.
Oh my God, that is
Because,
great.
well, yeah,
Because
but
no, like for real, because this is so enlightening. Because I myself, I wasn't educated when I started my business. I just started it. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I'm like a first generation in my family actually becoming a business owner. So it's a lot of things that we're just not educated about, but we just know our dream. We know what we want. We know how we want to make money. We know what type of people we need to put in place. But the structure of your business, when you have individuals there helping you with it, the structure comes and plays very well because you will become a lot more successful than you believe because of those people actually knowing their position and knowing what they have to do and how it's going to get done.
exactly. And on that point, that's there's a great point. It's the structure and how it's supposed to be because HR doesn't run a company. HR follows your lead. If you're
Yes.
CEO, we follow your lead. And so one of the things I speak about is how do you know what to look for in HR
Mm.
so that you don't just have a payroll department in your HR department. And it's
That is so true.
okay, so, but how can they follow your lead if you don't know exactly what you're looking for in HR? Because if you tell them just to, draw on purple paper, that's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
So I want to help people like you understand exactly what HR can do, given your hopes, given your dreams, given the vision that you have. I can tell you how HR can support that vision. And if you got HR folks who aren't interested in that, you don't need them because I'm supposed to make you look good. I'm supposed to be a confidant for you in there no matter what. Say the good stuff, the bad stuff, so that you know you can always rely on me.
Mm.
That's how it's
Yeah.
supposed to be. If you're not doing that, you're not doing HR.
Girl,
That's
listen,
it.
somebody say they don't need HR. That's a lie. Because
Yeah,
you
well,
do. It's like an investment for yourself at the end of the day because you can't handle it all by yourself. And paperwork matters. Like paperwork matters a lot. And with you coming from an accounting background, you know that paperwork matters a lot.
paperwork
And
matters,
it just you
compliance.
just never know when those people at the IRS is gonna come through the door. You never know when they're coming, and they're going to look for the structure. They want to look and see exactly what you're doing because you're making tax dollars of these things, and that all come into place with that.
But you're dealing with money. Okay, everything's on the table. And again, how many of us have heard do it right the first time?
Girl, listen, yes.
So I try to do it right the first time I go. I look it up. I make sure it's clean. I make sure we talk to people. I make sure people understand what's going on. And I also help them to understand nothing's in stone. As the
Yeah.
business evolves, we will evolve. So don't worry. And when I put out a new handbook, all the managers and directors already know. If you see something you don't like, just let me know. It's
Yes.
our book. It's not an HR book. It's our book. And that's the way it's
Mhm.
got to be. That's the way it's got to be. But you're busy. You're running the business. Let me take care of that book. Let me give you communication cues. You pick the ones you want and you go with it. But we have to work together. It's not just HR does this on the side. That's what they
Yeah.
were supposed to do and we're done. No. That's not how it works when it's working at its best.
Yes. So with you, basically, you still working your job, right? So you still working your job, and then you have your book that you have. So that's basically your side hustle.
Exactly. And
So,
I teach.
so you
I
gotta
teach at night.
so Claudia got a side hustle, y'all.
I
So
do.
so with you having your side hustle, do you take on clients and help them with structuring their business and making sure proper things are in place? Because like one of the comments that I see that Tammy wrote, it says HR and accountant per will keep you out of jail.
It's true. Mostly what I've been helping folks with is just the philosophy because
Yeah.
getting over the hurdle of HR is not payroll, is the first hurdle for people. And then helping them with the philosophy, looking at things, they tell me a little bit and then I help them understand that. So trying to show the value, true value of HR is really what I've been doing
That's
more than
good.
anything else. Yeah, and then I've helped employees because, I think I might get fired. I'm like, do you have a copy of your handbook?
I know
Make sure
that's
you get one
right.
before you go. Okay.
Yeah.
If you have a disability, have you asked for an accommodation?
Mm.
This is all open stuff, right? It's federal law and it's open. I'm not saying anything wrong. So I try to help the employee. And one person said, well, they were just wrong. And I just told them, I said, okay, and what tone did you use? Because
Right.
I want them to hear you, not the attitude. So I help employees from everybody from the employees who are working the business to the business owners and the people who are running the business. And just let's look at it. And really, sometimes it's just being empathetic and helping somebody see the other side. What would
Yes,
what would you do if it were your business, or what would you do if you were that employee? And it just kind of opens eyes. Not all the way. It's a journey,
it
but it
is.
but it does. It helps.
Yeah, it's like you keeping both parties level headed for them to actually understand exactly what's going on instead of them just being outrageous and angry and thinking to the left because everyone starts to go off emotions at that point. So you have to keep that balance in between so you could develop an understanding and letting them know exactly, are you going to stay here at this job or are you going to go, or do you need to pull the manager to the side, talk to them and give some sort of reasoning, or you're dead wrong.
The hardest part is the gaining respect. For some people simply don't want to give it to you. There was a lawyer I worked with once and he yelled at me and I listened to him and
Oh
he kept
wow.
yelling and I listened to him. I didn't say a word. And finally he was quiet and I said, do you not feel well today because you yelled at me? So I'm sure you're not feeling well. And I waited to see what he had to say.
Oh my god, your patience.
Well, because see, if I yell back, what do I get? He can't he,
Nothing.
he can't hear himself. So
Right.
I'm just gonna sit there and look at you. Pretty soon you'll figure it out. I mean, so yeah. And I had one person who was just so incredibly rude. I said, well, and this was back in the day where we were always going to work, right? And
Right.
I said, well, where do you sit? I need to come see you. He said, I don't need to see you. I'm like, nah, you're gonna see me today. I need to know where you sit. So I went and I knocked on his door. He stood there. He did not want to let me in. And I said, well, of course you're gonna let me in, aren't you? Just to say hello. And he didn't know what to do because of course his parents had taught him better and he was just being that way. And so I go
Oh.
in and I just said hi and told him a little bit about me. But I knew he was uncomfortable and I was pushing the boundary, even though I was just trying to be nice. But I made
Mm.
the point that I had to make. And then I said, well, I'm not going to hold you. I don't want to disturb you. I just wanted to say hello. And of course, the other side of that is you can't get away from me if I have something I need to tell you. You're going to hear me, rude or not. So, just do what you got to do. But I've had quite a few of those issues I've
But
had to deal
Claudia, the way you demand your respect is top tier. It is. It's like, well,
with.
it's like a bad kid and they just acted a fool and you just like, when you're done having a temper tantrum, just let me know. And you just let them just roll on the floor.
Hey, why would you fight if you've already won?
I know. That is so true.
Keep your wits about you and know that you've already won because we all know the difference between right and wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let them roll for a minute. Then I'm gonna say, okay. Like one person, he was just, oh, I know what. I called a meeting, and it was with two of the vice presidents, and I started talking. He goes, you just another one. You just need to come out with, and I waited because he went up to close his door. I watched him, and I watched him till he sat down, and then I said, as I was saying, everybody listened. Not before, not till I'm ready, and then we're all going to listen. And then that can be really obnoxious sometimes if you're talking about what they're going to do to minorities or females or people who are lower or on the organizational chart. And I want to be heard. I'll be in an executive meeting and I will raise my hand. I want to make sure they see me. And it's also a statement that you will not ignore me because I'm about to say what I need to say. Like, if you want to have a
Even
laugh,
your
you can.
even your calmness and quietness is loud. It's
That's how
like
it works.
no, seriously, because it's like we having the interview right now, but at the same time when you talking, it's still silent even though you're talking.
But one of the things you,
But
you got to.
that is amazing. Like seriously. So could you let the audience know the name of your book?
The name of my book is called HR Simply Defined. And it goes through like Webster's dictionary, all different phases of HR, and
Hmm.
it comes to a single definition of human resources.
Wow, really?
Hmm. Yeah, and it's helped me a lot. It's not a lot of research, and so and so said this and so and so said that. No, it's 30 years of what I have lived through.
I mean,
and,
seriously.
and the other reason it's important is because when you go to seminars tell you best case scenario and how to make things better. But seminars don't tell you what to do if things are falling apart, if people aren't listening and people aren't talking. That's not what the seminars do. And,
Mhm.
I go to seminars, I'm thinking, yeah, but I don't live in Kansas anymore from the Wizard of Oz. It's like I live in this real world and I have to know how to cope. So it also tells
Mhm.
HR folks how to cope with each other, how to cope with different bosses, and still know you put in a good day's work and you did something that was honorable. Because too many
Mm.
people tell HR folks, well, they don't listen, you just need to quit. Really? Because I say, I don't have another job and I need to eat and I got a car payment. You can't just quit.
Yeah.
So this tells people what you can do while you're considering where you need to be and what's going on.
Yes. So do you offer any consultation or courses or anything like that?
Through my website, which is mondaysrow.com, that's his name. My company is Mondays Row. I do speaking engagements and I do consultations as well. And the company's called Mondays Row because when I was a little girl, I was in the first grade, of course. I hope I made it there, and we had 5 rows. And because my maiden name started with a B, I was on Monday's Row. And that's how we go to recess and go to the lunchroom and everything else. Monday's Row, Tuesday's Row. And so, in looking for a name for my company, that's why it's called Monday's Row. And that's the name of my website.
Oh wow. That is amazing. I'm like, even though like you have what you said 30 years experience,
Yeah. Hmm.
like you are like you're really good at this.
I love it though. Remember they always say
I
if
know. It
you love it,
shows.
yeah, if you love it, it's not hard. But the biggest part is knowing what you want and finding your way to get there.
Yeah, it's like you like a veteran of it. It's just I think it's really your calmness for me because it's like even today, like over the years of you being in this field, do you think it's a lot worse today than ever? Or you think it's always been the same?
I think it's the same at more at a graduated level. Like, the
Oh, okay.
technology has changed and the people have
Right.
changed and the racism or problems are still there, maybe a little smaller, but still there. And
Okay.
so, one of the ways I explain is if I have a cold for a day, it's a cold. If I have a cold for a week, it's a cold. If I have a cold for 3 months, there's a problem. It's the same cold,
Yeah.
but now it's a problem. And that's what I've seen. It's some of the same issues that we've never been able to eliminate because we're not
Yeah.
patient enough with each other and people are afraid to speak up.
That is true. The people aren't they are afraid to speak up, but it seems like today no one likes to work right now.
I know,
Yeah.
but I know, and I want to know why, but I think people
I
don't
do
feel
too.
heard. I don't think they feel heard. I don't think they feel valued. And I know for a fact, just by some of the phone calls I've made to companies or going into stores, they haven't invested in training. The philosophy seems to
Oh,
be they're not going to stay, so it doesn't matter. Well, they're not staying because it does matter. Okay, that you cared
yeah.
enough to train and to teach and to help. And it's okay if they don't stay with your company because that means you made them a little better for the next person. And that's a reputation in and of itself. Keep giving. I didn't say give your last dime, but keep giving. Keep trying to build people up and help them understand their potential. It always comes back to you. That's just
Yeah.
life. It always comes back. And so folks don't understand if they're rude, what they're affecting. They don't understand it's affecting them, their reputation, the business. They're just thinking I said something.
Right.
Help them to see. And if they don't care, I want to know why. I
Yeah.
need to be educated. Tell them what's going on. I'm like you. I don't understand it, but I know what I see, and I know people aren't trained, and I know we all need to feel a certain amount of value from
That's
putting our time
true.
in.
Yeah,
And they do.
cause seeing like the lack of people working now is really sad. But at the same time too, people are looking for a certain amount of pay, and it's hard for companies to already sustain already and keep going and being able to give them the pay that they maybe even deserve. And it's difficult right now due to everything in the economy that is just so extremely expensive. So it's like, man, like how are we about to how I can't work here? And it's like I've even seen people that rather work at McDonald's than certain companies because they feel like McDonald's make more money hourly than them actually just working a corporate job sometimes, you know? And that's a huge difference.
Yeah, but once again, who's explained to them where that company is, what it's trying to do? Like, if you got a scale of being paid, does the company say we're trying to pay at the 25th percentile because our funds are a little bit lean and we can't pay at the 75th? So, this is where we are. But because we can't pay more, this is what we're going to do in training. This is what we're going to do as far as giving people time off to volunteer. These are some of the other things that we're going to do. We're going to have a good employee assistance program that's open not just to you but to your family members.
Hmm.
We're going to do that whole wellness wheel. Wellness isn't just emotional, but financial, right? Spiritual, in all the different things. We're actually going to help you with all of these things. And if we can help you, we would love for you to be here with this understanding.
That's
No, they're not
good.
doing that. They're just
Yeah.
hiring people and saying, this is what we pay.
Yeah.
So,
All right, now that's your job. Go in there, do your job.
yeah, but people aren't seeing again the whole package. So if I don't see the whole package, there's no mentorship. There's no path forward. Yeah, I want to work at McDonald's. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. So people, even the companies, don't like to take the time sometimes to help
Yeah.
people understand where they fit and where is that person going to be 5 years from now.
I think right now it's just more of getting a fill in of someone just getting in there to work because it's such a shortage. So it's
Mhm.
like just flow. Go as you go.
Well, that's the problem. They're all flowing the same way, you know. So I need a warm body. I got a warm body now. I'm mad because the warm body doesn't stay. I'm mad because the warm body doesn't. They're not trained. Okay, yeah. Well, you got
Yeah.
what you asked for,
Yeah.
right?
Cause they gonna quit next week.
That self-fulfilling prophecy. They're gonna quit next week, so I'm not gonna do anything. See, told you they're gonna quit. One of my aunts used to do that. She used to drive like 2 miles an hour, and you're just sitting there when you're younger going, oh my goodness, right? And then she would swear the person up a block was going to run the stop sign. Well, they
Oh,
didn't run the stop sign. They wait for her for a minute, and then they would go. And when they went, she said, see, I told you they're going to run it. We can make things
I
happen.
just- yeah, definitely can. So how can anyone purchase your book and support you or even book you or anything?
HR Simply Defined on the web. Well, you can buy the book through Sherm, which is really great. You can buy the book also
Okay.
on Amazon.com. Again, HR Simply Defined. Or you can go to the website, mondaysrow.com. And Mondays Row has this little second tab where you can contact me to book for consultations, help, whatever you need. All of that's available through the website.
Wow. That is amazing. I'm really proud of you just even stepping out on faith in this field because like I was telling you, it's just you just don't hear it or see it often and for you to just take this leap and just be willing to help people with this is very very important.
It affects so many lives, and that's why I love it so much. And I'm just devoted to getting the word out as much as I can. Because every little bit you can do, I do
Mhm.
believe it just keeps rippling forward. I think it keeps helping people. But I'm proud of you and the business that you've created and being the first. That's not easy either, and I mean that. I'm not just saying it.
It's
That's
not
not easy.
easy.
So
It's not
we all
easy.
yeah, no. So we have to help each other.
It was a struggle. It was I mean, it was a long struggle of me actually. Honestly, I learned more when I failed. I learned a lot when I failed and then after me like bouncing back from it, it enlightened me a lot. It gave me a lot of wisdom, it gave me a lot of structure. It taught me to work less too. It taught me to work less cuz I worked so hard. It was doing too much to a point where I would make myself drain. But now I'm still doing the same thing, but I work less and I put people in place more for me to do less.
Yeah, but but so much of that then is built on humility, willingness to keep learning, to learn from
Yes.
mistakes, to see, just taking a step back. What else can I do?
Yeah.
How else can I make this work? And that's what I love about what you just said, because you're always thinking, you're always trying to figure out how can it work, what's better, but you had a vision, and that's what it starts with. And that's the beauty of you understanding business and trying to get that done. And then I
Yeah.
try to come through with HR to support all those things. But if I'm not humble and you're not humble, we're just not going to get as far.
Yeah.
So it's
Cause we all have a vision and we all want to do things, but I felt that it was just so much hard for me because I didn't have like no mentor in my field that could actually help me and it's hard finding I would say authentic mentors
yes, that's a good way to put it.
that
Yeah.
that are really willing to help you with like I was doing childcare. I didn't have anybody teach me absolutely nothing. So for me to just learn along the way, I feel like I did amazing. But I know it could have been a lot better if I did have someone in that field that's been a vet in it for so long and could have taught me different things to avoid certain situations. And that's something I didn't have. But if I was, but now in different areas and fields and businesses that I do have, I always make sure I have a mentor for it. I even have a mentor for podcasting. So
Wow.
it's just I've learned that mentors are very needed in anything you do. You can never be too big for a mentor.
But again, it was your drive to even get to that point. Because I've never had a mentor in HR. And I've heard so many people say, well, I need somebody to teach me. Of course we do. But if I
Yeah.
don't, then I'm going to do just what you do. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to learn from my mistakes. And it may take me a little longer to get there.
Yeah.
But the beauty is the learning from mistakes and always questioning and being willing to listen. And that's why you are where you are. And
Yeah.
that is key to your success. And I think it's a great thing. I do.
Thank you. I honestly it's to a point I appreciate all the things I did go through because it just made me so much wiser, and now I could just use my podcast to even just make awareness to a lot of people. Just having you on here is bringing awareness to people because you're saying things that I should have learned a long time ago, but someone may be watching now and did not know how much they need a person that's in HR to actually help them take their business to a next level because that's what it takes. What if they have a whole bunch of sales tomorrow out the blue out of nowhere? You're gonna need help. You're gonna need an HR to put like structure everything. So I really appreciate that you're doing this. This is great.
think I do. I think it's really great. Just everybody's got their gift, right? So we just have to put our gifts
Yes.
together, and make the whole thing work. But I really appreciate that when you learned, you didn't turn it into negative. When things didn't go well, you didn't get sour. And
No.
unfortunately, that's what happens with some people. So they end up getting in their own way.
I
So you
can't.
said,
I gotta press it. Like when things happen like that, I gotta make up for it.
okay,
I'm like,
but
no, this can't happen. I need to get it together.
but see, that's the beauty of it, and that in itself is the mentoring, a mentoring characteristic that so many people need to learn.
Yeah, that's very true. That is.
Hmm.
That is because what's so crazy when I saw that I was going to interview you, I was stuck. Honestly, I'm sitting like HR. What am what am I gonna talk to Claudia about with HR? I'm like, people like, where did this go? And then it was just like everything. I started reading up on like certain things on what would I ask you. I don't really ask too many questions. I usually just go off our conversation, but just even just communicating with you, I've learned so much, and just even knowing how broad your position is. It isn't just paperwork and filing.
Exactly. I get all that done, then I start the other work, right?
It's not just doing that. It's much more broad than that. It's like you're everything.
You gotta be. That's what you gotta be. If you're gonna practice it the right way, you can always just, fill in the blank.
I
But if you
know.
really want to make a difference, then you get in there and you make a difference.
Well, you making a difference. You done made a difference with me. 'Cause listen, Claudia, I was nervous. I'm like, Lord, I don't know what I'm about to talk to her about. I don't know
I'm
what I'm
always ready to
gonna ask.
talk. Nah, this has been great. I do appreciate it so much.
Yes, I appreciate you too. What is something that you want to leave here today of a positive message for someone?
Especially with the HR, if you err on the side of the employee.
Mm,
Always err on the side of the employee. If you've got to figure it out, make sure that they are at an advantage. Because think about it. When you think about the structure, an employee can be at a disadvantage if you don't have a good management team. So I
That's
always
true.
think if you're going to err on the side of the employee, give them the benefit of the doubt. Give them that last say. Let them talk because the payback is incredible. In my book, I say it's just exponential. So,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I know that's right. Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed you tonight. I really appreciate you. And I pray that everyone please purchase her book. Could you tell them one more time where to get it from?
It is mondaysrow.com. You can order the book through the website, or you can get it on Amazon, or you can go through Sherm. And the name of the book is HR Simply Defined.
Yes. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in tonight at Life Heard Podcast. Please do not forget to subscribe on YouTube and also listen on our audio on all major platforms, which is Apple, Spotify, Pandora, all the above. I appreciate you all and tune in for our next interview that will be coming up at 8 p.m. Thank you. I appreciate you.